In this house lives a little girl called Florence, Flo for short, and she's outside in the garden, kicking a ball. The little girl is tired and annoyed and a little bit stroppy. She's gotten into a small argument with her little brother and then her mum, and has now accidentally kicked the ball a little too hard over the garden fence into next door's garden. This is not good. She can't tell her mum. Her mum's a little bit stroppy too. So, reluctantly, the little girl will have to go get it herself. She knocks on the door and waits. A little old lady is sat in her living room. She's a little lonely, until she hears a knock on the door. At that door is little Flo. Flo tells the little lonely lady about her ball, and the little old lady invites her in for some tea and biscuits. Flo's dad tells her to be kind to the old, so Flo pours the tea. She's very careful not to spill a drop. Flo informs the little old lady about her annoying brother. The little lonely lady thinks it's very funny. "Do you believe in fairies?" asks the little lonely lady. Flo doesn't know. She's never ever seen a fairy in real life, only on the telly. "Well, you know Santa's real, and I'm sure you've never seen him." Flo has seen Santa for real. She sat on his lap and told him what she wanted for Christmas. "Well, they are real," says the little old lady. "I promise you. I used to play with them." Flo doesn't know whether to believe the little old lady. She could be bonkers. "Well, if fairies are real and you've seen one, what do they look like?" asks Flo. The lonely little lady is quiet for a while. She's thinking. "It's difficult," she says. "Fairies change all the time. When a fairy is happy, they can be the most beautiful things in all of the world. But when a fairy is sad and blue, they can be so ugly." Flo hopes she never has to meet an unhappy fairy. And oh, look at the time. Flo really should be getting home. She thanks the little old lady for her tea and biscuits and promises that she'll come to visit soon. In the coming weeks, little Flo finds herself spending a lot of time in the little old lady's house. Flo helps her hoover in all the places the little old lady can't reach. She helps the old lady wash the dishes. But most importantly, Flo helps the little lonely lady eat her biscuits, and the old lady doesn't mind one bit. In return, Flo gets to hear all about the fairies. The little lonely lady is not so lonely anymore. One day, the little old lady decides to take Flo on a walk. The little old lady tells Flo a story. "Once upon a time," she says, "the world was filled with fairies. All day, people like you would play with the fairies. We'd play in fields. We'd play with the figgly-wumps and massive games of jig-jag-jaw. They're the most wondrous creatures in all the world." As they begin to walk up a large hill, little Flo takes the old lady's hand and holds it tight. "Sometimes we'd play all day, me and the fairies, climbing the trees and flying with the birds as if we were dancing." Flo asks, "Will I ever meet a fairy?" The little old lady smiles. "It's difficult. It's not easy as it used to be. Fairies don't like humans. You have to be really special. If you're lucky and they like you, just for a second, for a tiniest moment, you might just see them out of the corner of your eye." Little Flo and the little old lady are very good friends, and remain so until Flo is not so little anymore. The little old lady is there for Flo on her first day back at school, and on her first day of college. Flo and the little old lady stay friends until Flo is a little lady herself. The more time Flo spends with her, the happier the little old lady becomes. Flo thinks the little old lady is prettier when she's happy. She's not so old anymore.